Hello everyone, it is officially 5:02. I am a couple of minutes late, but hello! Hello everyone, officially to the Visibility Vortex. Today is a brand new day of the new name of this Facebook group. I've had a divine inspiration to update the name of this group because guess what? I am all about visibility. I'm all about helping soul-led entrepreneurs increase their visibility. That means healing and releasing their visibility fears and doubts so that they can show up with confidence and conviction and magnetically attract their dream soul clients. And in order to do that, if you were a part of my 5-day coaching series, The Art of Unbreakable Confidence and Magnetism, say hello if you're watching live. You know how much we covered about blocks, right? How much into details we went into recognizing, hi Joe, how much we recognize that, there are things that are blocking us. And although some of you said yes to yourself, and I'm so excited for those of you who have decided to, to make a change, to really commit to yourself. Super excited. For those of you who are like, I really wanted to do that, and I recognize that I'm not in a position, this life is specifically for you. I mean, this life is pretty much for everyone. But it's very much for those of you who would love to be there, but are not yet in a position to make that commitment, especially financially, okay? It's all about unlocking the abundance. And let me just see that. Can you just let me know that you guys can hear me okay? You can see me okay? 2 people are watching. Who else is watching? Say hello. And those of you who are catching on a replay, this live will be available on a replay as well. So you can catch up, but it's really crucial live, guys, because I am going to cover 7 kind of core basic abundance activations that need to happen in order for you to move into the frequency of abundance. And I am not just talking about money. This is abundance when it comes to health, wealth, love, creativity, inspiration, and just amazing people coming into your life, as well as obviously clients, right? I recognize that so many of you here in the group are business owners, or perhaps are at the starting journey of your business, and these are the 7 crucial activations that need to happen in order to for you to feel fulfilled in what you do, to make amazing impact with doing what you are so passionate about, and at the same time make a fulfilling income. Because guess what, guys, we are all running businesses at the end of the day, right? The more abundant we can feel in our life and our businesses, the more we can actually impact the lives of others. So I would recommend that you actually get pen and paper, because in all of my values I deliver tons of really valuable stuff that you get to implement. So grab a pen and paper, and I'm going to take you through those 7 activations that need to happen in order for you to activate the abundant flow. And this is something that's actually a core of all of my programs, whether that is when clients work with me one-to-one, whether that is group coaching programs, whether that's actually even self-study programs that I have available for you. All of this is a core of the work. If this does not happen, you are going to find yourself struggling building a business, struggling being visible, struggling feeling healthy, struggling feeling confident. So if there's one thing I really want you to take away from this live, is these are the key crucial 7 abundance activations. Okay, who else is watching? Say hello. Okay, the first activation that needs to happen is the tribal activation. So this is actually something I created by myself. Nobody else has got this, so it's sort of like a signature system that I've built over the years, where I recognized how, as human beings, there are certain spiritual laws that we need to get connected to in order to activate that rich abundance that is our birthright. and what we have to unlearn in order to invite that in. Because remember, everything that we had learned in this lifetime being on this planet Earth is pretty much to limit us. right? Those are limiting beliefs, those are memories, those are habits, those are perceptions that made us believe that we are limited. Okay, so my invitation is for you to start seeing yourself as a limitless being, and by doing these activations, you will be able to unlock that limitless potential. So when it comes to the tribal activation, this specifically relates to the very first root chakra. Okay, I very much operate in the chakra system whenever I work with my clients, and this is really all about letting go of the expectations of the closest ones to you. Okay, so this is, I call it sort of our tribe, right? Our parents, our relatives, so our bloodlines. This is where we learn to let go of the toxic loyalty that we unknowingly decided to take as truth. Hold on a second, guys. Okay. Bear with me one second, just guys. I'm gonna... There is just one moment. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. There is just one message popping up on my thingy. Sorry. Okay, cool. Yeah, so all about when it comes to, you know, releasing the loyalty and the beliefs about what it is that others, especially our closest ones, will think of us if we decide to pursue our goals, pursue our purpose. This is where also we work around releasing the patterns of vowels and patterns of poverty, right? On the subconscious level, all of us on some, you know, in some lifetimes, maybe this one or past lifetimes, some of us have actually taken vows of poverty. That simply means that in this lifetime, we really get to struggle financially in order to prove that vow. Okay, so in the actual activation that I take you through, we actually get to release those vows of poverty, vows of, you know, the feast and famine as well. When the money comes in, you're all happy, and then the minute you reach your glass ceiling, it kind of all goes to shit, right? How many of you have experienced that you've got this tidal wave of going up and down with your income, right? Instead of kind of continuously either being stable at the beginning or actually going up. This is also fear of letting go of familiar people and places and habits. This is one of the most common block. And that's you, Joe. This is actually one of the most common blocks, especially when I work one-on-one, that it's that the biggest fear of letting your closest people go. And most people think that, you know, all of a sudden you need to just completely detach yourself from your closest one. It's not necessarily that. Sometimes that is necessary, but most of the time it's actually just really learning how to communicate what is important to you and why it is so important to you. Okay, there are ways that you can communicate with love and compassion and releasing the guilt, the shame of starting to think and believe differently than your closest ones. There's a saying I actually came across yesterday. It was so beautiful, saying, you know, if you are already into this type of work where you are, hi Deborah, if you are someone who's attracted to this type of work, especially when it comes to healing your limiting beliefs about money, releasing the vows of poverty, releasing the feast and famine, you are actually one of the first and most important person in your family bloodline, to heal those. And that means that when you do that, you completely change the progression of what happens to your kids, your grandkids, and oh my gosh, what do you call them? And generations forward, right? Like when you do this work, that's what really happens. So it's not just changing your life here and now, but you're actually changing completely what's going to happen to your future generations. So it's really, really important to start there, right? You know, heal and release all those old tribal limitations and activate the energy of being safe to be yourself around the ones that, you know, up until now you've recognized as your tribe. And like I said, sometimes you may need to release some people, could be your closest friends. And Jenny, what happens that you will start attracting new people who actually vibe on that frequency. Okay, so that's activation number one that really needs to happen. What's also really, really important here, guys, in that first activation is that immune system is actually directly connected. How your immune system performs, so how often do you get sick, how often do you catch infections, how well your health is, how resilient your immune system is, has actually got big massive connection to this tribal activation, because our immune system is kind of like a protective shield. If we think of it in a larger scale, you know, us being, let's say, in the world, our immune system is like this protection from the outside world. The inside world, there's a shield between the inside world and the outer world. And how well this immune system function actually will also determine how well we function in the society, how brave, how confident, how outspoken we are, how you know, with how much conviction we speak about the work that we do, will then show you the weakness or the strength of your immune system. And when we do this tribal activation, you actually find that your health gets better as well, because your immune system is directly connected to the root chakra. Okay, who else is watching us live? Say hello. Second activation that is directly connected to your sacral chakra is the creativity activation. Guess where all your creativity comes from? It actually comes from your sacral chakra. So any conditions like actually blocking the energy, blocking the flow of energy, blocking the flow of hi Janaea, blocking the flow of creativity. So let's say you are getting ideas, right? You're like, okay, I'm gonna write this down. This sounds amazing. But when you actually never ever do anything with it, or perhaps you kind of just like share here and maybe there, and maybe just like, nah, today I'm not going to say anything, you're actually blocking the flow of that energy, of that creativity. And things like frequent vaginal infections, endometriosis, PMS, what else have we got here? Infertility, impotence for guys, for men, is actually a sign that they are not utilizing their creative energy efficiently. Okay, so if you look at your health, okay, how often have I been experiencing that? And if you are a person, I actually have a client with frequent UTI infections, and we've recognized that actually has so many ideas, but when it comes to implementation, that's where we need to do most work, because there are fears, there are doubts. What will people say? Again, when you look at it that way, it always comes back to that point. So it's really crucial that we do this creativity activation through really activating the love and the abundant recognition for ourselves. So this is where we see that beautiful connection between ourselves and the outside world, but this doesn't come this isn't connected to our blood relatives, guys. This is more sort of like the outside general world. Okay, let me just see, Deborah, your comment. Fears of implementation. Yeah, so that simply means that there's a block in your sacral chakra that needs to be shifted, right? Like if there are blocks, energetic blocks, it will be very difficult, right, to actually implement. And Jenny, the fears that are here is fear of losing control. Okay, what if all of a sudden, the things just get so big that I will lose control in how to deal with all of this stuff? Like too much responsibility, too much work. This is just going to be overwhelming. All of this comes from the mind. Remember, like when you activate first, the tribal activation, then you go into the creativity activation. When all of this is grounded, when all of this is settled energetically in your body, throughout all the levels, the implementation becomes a joy. Implementation becomes something that you are actually looking so forward to, because like this energy is just like, it's just waiting to explode. And that's the feeling that I can describe, whenever I create something, and when I feel it, like it just hits me in my body, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just going to be the most amazing either program or course. Yes, overwhelmed that it could get to be too much. And remember, whatever we believe, the universe will provide the evidence for that belief. So if we believe that it is going to be too much and I'm going to get overwhelmed, then that's exactly what's going to happen unless changed. And you get to change that through the creativity activation, when we let go of the fear of losing control. When we learn that actually setting clear boundaries in place and having very clear and healthy boundaries in place, learning how to say no to things, learning how to say yes to things that inspire and activate our soul, how bringing actually creative ideas into physical form gets to be fun, gets to be easy, gets to be it really gets to be like it's so hard to describe, guys. Like when I get into a flow and I just create things, I really try to, and this is what I actually teach, like when you get into the flow, you get to disconnect yourself from the mind and you get to open yourself up to the downloads, and you basically just ask, okay, what needs to be shared today? How can I be of service today? What needs to be shared today to activate these people so that they can make those next steps? I can see it. I can almost touch it. It just needs tipping over the edge. Yeah, right? And it's through those activations you get to go, right? Because you kind of, you move away from the mind and you activate the power inside. This is also, guys, when the financial blocks reside. In the sacral chakra. So the lack of the flow of money, struggling with money, struggling to bring in abundance of money, undercharging, having the feast and famine is also in the sacral chakra. Remember, we get to receive by creating, right? We get to receive just by being, and sometimes you get to have new clients popping from out of nowhere because they've seen your life, like, or they've listened to your podcast. That exchange of energy doesn't necessarily always happen straight away, right? You get to create something, you get to release that, and you know that through the law of the universe, right? Like the creation brings the equal amount of energy back to you. It will come back to you at some point. When? It doesn't really matter. It will. If you have that faith that it will, then creating with that energy becomes joyful. And like I said, when you allow yourself constantly to block that energy because of all the fears that I mentioned, those physical manifestation will show. It's not a surprise that when you look at specific chakras and the physical challenges that you get to experience are so connected. Okay, Deborah, wow, I had no idea the sacral held so much energy. Yeah, it's all, Kundalini awakening also happens through the, first obviously through the root, but then through the sacral. And here's the thing, all of the, let's say, the sexual shame, all of the sexual guilt, especially for women, was put in place for a reason. Men know how powerful creatures we are, and there is no this is probably a subject for another life, guys. Like, I want to keep this one short, but this is just for another life where you get to realize like why and especially even now, how the sexual energy for women is tamed and men are trying to control it. There's a big reason. And I'll go into more details into that actually on another live, but not today. But yeah, it is very much so the energy of creation. It's not just about birthing babies, it's creating life-changing, life-transforming content. Okay, third activation that needs to happen is the personal power activation. Personal power, when you get to connect to your solar plexus and you activate your solar plexus energy. This is the personal power this is the space of the personal power. This is where you recognize, and we touched upon it quite a lot during the Art of Unbreakable Confidence and Magnetism, where you get to really unlock, first of all, release the old gang about what your personal power means. You know, all the selfishness, all the greediness, all the narcissistic energy that, you know, we've been branded, that, you know, if you stand in your power and if you believe in what you do, then you get to be arrogant. That's bullshit. That's not true. When you stand in your power, that's when you activate this level of confidence and conviction that is magnetic, because it vibrates through your energy. But first of all, you know, in order for people to recognize that in you, you have to recognize that in yourself. So through the personal power activation, we get to unlock and elevate your self-esteem. We get to increase the self-understanding that you have about yourself. Like, who am I? What are my superpowers? What am I really good at? Like, what do I actually enjoy? Where are my skills and talents that, if utilized, are going to be really life-changing for people? This is where you also learn how to make decisions from this aligned place, like from a place of power. And the beliefs that are very common around here, limiting beliefs that show up in our lives, is when we believe that we need to weaken our skills, our abilities, our passions in order to gain safety from the closest ones around us. We actually get, you know, we consciously decide to weaken, you know, to kind of create a shadow around ourselves, just so that people around us don't feel triggered, that they don't feel threatened. Who does that? You know, let me know if that's something that you recognize yourself to be and to do, when you know that, like, the work that you do is just so freaking awesome. But when it comes to, let's say, even speaking around your friends or your family, you're like, yeah, I'm just a coach. And it's normal, you know, when those fears are running the show, we get to actually dim our lights. We decide to dim our lights just so that we feel safe and we feel that we belong to the tribe, or that we want to impress somebody. So we actually weaken our skills and our abilities just so that we can actually impress somebody. This is a very, very toxic relationship. I feel so seen. Deborah, you always feel so seen by me, you know? I read you. I read you. And you know what, and this is like the reason I share this with you guys is because this is what's stopping you from, especially you know, Deborah, you shared, like, you know, you've been on the journey to discovering yourself. And if this is in the way, that self-discovery journey is going to be so much longer, unnecessarily, right? And so you should be, yeah. What is unseen cannot be changed. What is seen can be changed. That easy, right? Boundaries, guys. Boundaries, not having healthy boundaries that lead to burnout. That comes in business when, you know, you overbook yourself like crazy. That leads to burnout because, oh my gosh, you know, I need to just fill up my calendar. Where you do the things that your solar plexus is just screaming, your gut is screaming like, no. But you do it anyway to please others. You lower your prices because you believe that by lowering your prices, more people are going to work with you. Biggest limiting bullshit ever. That's not true. This is also where you are blocking your intuition. And where the reason why many people block their intuition, guys, is because they are afraid that once they hear what their issue with intuition is going to tell them, it is going to be it is going to require an action that they're not ready for. So what they'd rather do, they'd rather block their intuitive senses and say that they cannot connect to their intuition. Most of the time it comes from fear of already knowing what you need to do. This is the biggest, you know, funny thing is that many people say, I don't know what I need to do. You very well know what you need to do. You're just stopping yourself out of fear, out of guilt, out of shame of doing that, right? And the thing is, you know, when it comes to intuition, yes, whatever you receive, it will then require your action. That action does not always guarantee safety, but what it guarantees an amazing growth and many, many valuable lessons that you get to learn that help you become a person who attracts even more abundance. Many people think that, it's the action, result, and here the money comes in. That's not how it works. For some people, yes, but what tends to happen for these people who very quickly, have 50, 100K months, many of those women are not energetically aligned to hold that frequency for a long time. Therefore, they will then lose all of that money. Same with health. And relationships. When you are not energetically aligned to that level, you will self-sabotage that. And when it comes to healing on a physical level, sickness, ailments, etc., mental, emotional level, what's actually required here, guys, is the belief in oneself that you can do it. And by activating that personal power, you get to also activate that belief. Okay, let me know if that is resonating with you guys so far. Like if you've come across this before, or is it actually completely new to you, or maybe it's just you've heard it, but it's put in a completely different frame, maybe easier to digest, maybe easier to understand. Activation number 4, my favorite actually. It's the love activation. So this is where we are bringing the vibration of love. And love not in the romantic sense, love for oneself, love for the world, love and appreciation for everything that exists. Seeing yourself, seeing your life as a freaking miracle. The magical, miraculous thing that we are. And how the big connection here is, guys, is actually how emotionally we respond. I'm just reading a book on this topic. It's how we emotionally respond to the outside world. And specifically to our feelings. Is there a judgment around how you feel? Is there a lot of hatred towards how you feel? Do you have a tendency of repressing the feelings, suppressing them, because it may feel uncomfortable to deal with these uncomfortable negative emotions? The biggest fears that are blocks here for bringing that love vibration into the activation is the fear of ending up lonely. So so what tends to happen is basically you'll have the idea, like, when we move up the scale, so you'll feel very connected. Okay, I get that I'm part of the tribe, and I still get that I've got ideas. Okay, I am going to create something amazing. Then I believe that it's possible for me to do that. And you get to the 4th level, the heart chakra, where all of a sudden fear of ending up lonely kicks in, because shit, what if nobody likes it? What if people disagree with me? What if actually nobody appreciates what I do? Because often of that fear is so big that we'll end up stopping ourselves and not ending and not creating anything in the end. This is also where a lot of jealousy and bitterness, especially around other people doing well. There's a lot of sort of like victim mode here as well. Like, how come I'm doing what other people are doing and it's just not falling into place for me? That's also where that kind of block sits. And one of the biggest one is the inability to forgive others as well as yourself. So this is where we hold on to the stories from the past so tightly that we are almost unable to forgive whoever did whatever, and we hold on to that story, and constantly that feeling of bitterness, resentment, frustration, anger is blocking the flow of the frequency of love. And it's through the forgiveness, through the compassion, we actually get to detach and release the past and bring in that powerful frequency of teaching ourselves that, you know what, what it feels like to actually have a very healthy, loving relationship, first with ourselves and then with others, even if we don't always accept them, even if we don't always agree with them. Compassion, forgiveness, and acceptance. Three biggest lessons that we get to activate through the love activation. And guess what? Actually, what determines a really, really amazing health is the healthy relationship that we have with ourselves. Any health challenges, and this is what I discovered, over the years working through my nutritional clients, that any misalignment with ourselves, any judgments, hatred, or emotional blocks that we, or burdens, or anger, frustration, all of these lower frequency emotions, the more we hold on to them, the more we are actually blocking our own self-healing, especially on the physical level. Because when you're holding on to this heavy, dense energy, higher frequency energy cannot simply step into the body. It is impossible to hold two frequencies of the opposite side at the same time. You get to move through them, right? You get to flow from one to the other without needing to sit, especially in the heavier dense, all the time. You get to actually just flow with it. And that's where, when you realize that, okay, the story is the story, but I don't need to hold on to it. That's when you activate the love frequency that then brings the happiness, the joy, the fulfillment, the financial gains, right? Fulfillment from seeing the impact that you're doing. And something that I actually wrote down, which is really, really great, is following our intuitive guidance that also comes through the heart. It doesn't always come through the gut, it always comes through the heart, is the highest form of preventative healthcare. It's the highest form of preventative healthcare. Trusting the guidance, listening to guidance. And healing, can't speak today. Healing begins when we heal and repair the emotional injuries, I call them. All the frustration, all the grief, all the sadness, all the rage, all the shame, all the guilt. When you learn how to let that go, that's when you activate your own healing. Okay, activation number 5. The truth activation. We're moving into the throat chakra. This is where we activate your inner truth. When you learn how to speak your truth with confidence and conviction. Most often, I think I shared that so many times. This was my own personal experience. My thyroid condition was actually down to the fact that I didn't know how to communicate how I was feeling. So what I used to hold on to is a lot of suppressed anger, a lot of suppressed frustration that I wouldn't communicate. So what tended to happen? This blocks this energy center. But when you learn that actually there is a very constructive and healthy way of communicating that through various techniques that I teach, you get to actually feel safe expressing your truth. The fear of being, rejected, the fear of being misunderstood, the fear of being criticized stops us from actually communicating our truth. And this is where honesty with ourselves and forgiveness for ourselves also activates our own inner truth. When we really get to see ourselves for what and who we are. The negatives and the positives, the light and the shadow. Even let's call them the negative feelings, they are part of us. The less judgment we have about that and the more compassion and forgiveness we get to activate, the more truthful we become. The easier it is to then use the creative ideas that, materialize themselves on the second level. Trust that we can do it. Have compassion and acceptance that this is my path, and then communicate it with ease. It really gets to become easy. And they're a very helpful question. I shared them already. How can I be of service today is a really good question to activate the center. How can I be of service today to people? What can I share to activate people today? And guess what? Sometimes the things that come to me are the things that trigger people, right? The people will listen. They're like, bye. That's fine. I know that, let's say, the job was done because on some level, the right thing was activated, and how then they take that journey onwards, it's up to them. It's not up to me. If people get triggered, many of my one-to-one clients get triggered very, very often. They recognize that, and they also recognize that how grateful they are for that triggering activation, because they actually get to love and accept the shadow part of themselves that gets to be seen through that triggering process. Janaea, I find when it's my time of the month, I experience low vibe feelings, and I judge, make it mean something about me rather than just accept. Yeah. And you know what? I mean, I've actually learned that when it's, it's the time of the month, I actually get to really, really rest, because I see it as whatever energy did not have a chance to be created. This is also where we release the old stuck energy from us as energetic beings. This is where, let's say, the ideas that perhaps weren't for us, we get to release. So it's like, let's not make any judgment about it. This is just how we feel. And when you learn actually how to, let's say, ride that wave, since I've been doing my work, I honestly don't even know what PMS is. I don't have any pains. I don't have any lows. Let's say my period is just so, like, I actually get my period when it's like first day of, full moon. I'm so in sync, and it's really through this work. I don't even have to check when my period is coming, because I know, okay, full moon is there. Okay, I'm going to get my period. And it always happens because I just accept. I accept myself more and more and more, the shadow and the light. And the thing is, when it comes to the truth, taking the time out for me minus the guilt, absolutely. As women, we really need to allow ourselves the time and give ourselves the time to rest. Same for guys. Like, it's not just for women, but guys, when it comes to, I think this expectation of guys always being like, ready, always being on point, they also get through the energy release. I think there's an amazing podcast actually about utilizing sexual energy for men too, like how actually not having frequent intercourses really helps them create amazing stuff. Like I was like what? It's actually interesting. If I find it, I'm going to share it in the group, because I know there are some guys in the group, but it's really, really powerful. Like, how the sacral and don't plan, launch Moonflow. Actually, do you know what? That's to me, this is actually I'm inviting you, Janaea, actually just to be curious about that belief, because I've proven many times that I had launches mid-cycle, and I actually got more clients. So I decide to believe that it's not true for me. But it's whatever rocks your boat. Okay. How to make aligned choices also comes in the truth activation. So this is where I've mentioned already, like, I don't know what I need to do. You already know, because you felt that in your body, right? You've had an idea. You felt that in your power center. There was a slight activation of like, I think I can do this, right? Like how much can I do it? Like, not how much can I do it, but like how excited am I about this? Connect to your heart and then start talking about it. The reason why this gets blocked is because we kid ourselves in saying to ourselves that we don't know what to do, but we very well know what we need to do. I think before I joined my coach 2 years ago, I think I've watched her 5-day coaching series 3 times, and it was the very first time I knew that I should have joined back then, because I wasted 2 years. I then went and made investments that didn't work out, and I thought, had I joined that very first time when my gut was screaming go for it, but my fear was bigger, I would have saved myself 2 years and endless amounts of money, right? So it's like that. How much do we trust each center one by one? It's literally just about working around the fear, releasing the fear, releasing the beliefs of making wrong decisions, releasing the judgment around making wrong decisions. Every decision is a decision. Every choice is a choice. So, right now when I look back, well, I wish I had made that step. But hey, through those 2 years, I also learned lessons, right? My let's say, preferability would be like, I wish I had joined sooner, but hey, life goes on, right? I made that investment in the end, and hey, I've created amazing things since then. I've activated levels of abundance that I know wouldn't have been possible and available to me had I not done this investment. Each time you decide to make an investment, time, energy, and money in yourself, you make a quantum leap in what you're making yourself available for. Every time you retract back, you're saying to the universe, I don't deserve this, I'm not worthy, this is not for me, this is bad. Observe yourself, like how many times have you done that just purely out of a place of fear when your mind was making the decisions? Okay, activation number 6. It is the inner wisdom activation. Now I'm feeling seen. Inner wisdom activation. Most common physical, what do you call them? Symptoms that you have if you are not activating, or if you haven't allowed yourself to activate your inner wisdom, are headaches, sinus problems, nose allergies, stiff neck. So that stiff neck is basically when you have neck problems, you're not being flexible, you're just like literally you're like focused on one thing and you're not really seeing the possibilities. It's all about not wanting to hear or see something that is important to your inner growth and your soul's journey. I had when was it? I think it was actually 2 years ago. It was my very, very first program that I created, called Nourish to Flourish. And there was a lady who used to suffer from frequent chronic sinus infections for like 20 years. She joined the program, and literally within how long was the program? Oh gosh, I can't remember. I think it was 6 weeks. 6 weeks, her sinus problem completely cleared. We actually used nutritional approach. We used energy clearing. We used all the other different spiritual activations. And what came through to her during that program was actually her purpose and who she meant to be working with. And when she got that download, she was like, I knew this for my entire life almost, but I was too afraid of the judgment. I was too afraid of the responsibility that I needed to take. And she was actually guided to work with women with sexual problems, infertility, endometriosis, reproductive challenges, sexual abuse as well. And she's now working. She actually became a coach, and she's now working with those women. So it was amazing, like how sinus, when you actually connect, when you allow yourself to connect to your inner wisdom and you heal that, you release that block, you release those blocks, you release that energy, dense energy, everything just comes through to you. You connect to that inner wisdom because that inner wisdom is already in you. It's been with you since the moment you came to this planet Earth. Now it's just a case of, okay, how much can I remove all this gunk that I learned throughout my lifetime that is blocking me from seeing what I'm truly here to do. So any sickness, guys, any sickness, emotional, mental, physical, is actually not embracing the life force energy that was given to us. Any health challenges simply mean you are not embracing the life force energy that is within you. And it's the reason why I'm bringing the energy centers, because this work is crucial. When you learn how to activate each energy center through these activations, that's when you're also allowing the life force energy to flow through you with ease and grace. When your body just thrives on energy. you work with clients and you get energetic spikes by working with clients. You know, you see the results, you get just charged up. You create things, and even before people say yes to you, because guess what, the absolute conviction whether something is worthy or not has to come from you first. So you have to feel validated, you have to feel, you have to give yourself your own affirmations and know that you are worthy of being here, you're worthy of being heard, seen, and listened to before anybody else does. That belief has to be activated within you first. And you get that by activating your inner wisdom. Actually all of you, why am I saying most of you? All of you have got a soul plan, right? And in the soul plan, we get to connect to, like, what is it really that I'm here to do? And the more you learn how to connect yourself back to yourself and let go of what the society taught you, who you are, the quicker this journey becomes. Rather than doing it all by yourself and you're like, and I understand that some people want to do it by themselves, but it's like, remember, time is not a renewable source. Time is not a renewable source. You don't get it back. So we might as well enjoy the crap out of life, right? And like just make the most of it. And this is where you allow yourself, allow the spirit that's within you to be awakened. Awaken that contribution that you were given that you then need to give to others, to activate them. And that's how the abundance gets activated. I really hope you're starting to get the flow of it, that it's really through allowing yourself to be you. That's how you activate the abundance. Health, wealth, love, creativity, joy. Abundance is not just money. The last, 7th activation is the divine connection activation. This is where you learn to connect to something deeper, bigger, more powerful, more supportive outside of you, and learn that you don't need to do everything all by yourself. That you are always supported, that you are always worthy of support. You know, how often do you ask for support? Be honest with yourself now. How often do you actually ask for support? How often do you actually hire people to help you with something? Do you wait until you actually have, let's say, enough money to then hire somebody? Or do you go, like, you know what, I'm going to trust that by hiring that person and having some time off for myself so I can really focus on the thing that I'm really, really good at, I'm able to bring more in. This is where all the insecurities, guys, also reside. You know, this is the root chakra. Insecurities, everything that came from the external world, parents, kids at school, you know, playground, whatever, stories, ancestral stuff. The judgment, the inner judgment that we learn throughout our lifetime, what we are capable, what we're not capable of. This is where we also do the soul retrieval, which is really, really cool. Retrieving your soul fragments that you had lost along the way. Because, you know, remember, every time you give your power away, every time you say yes when you want to say no, every time you have weak boundaries in place, you are actually giving your soul fragments away. There's a very powerful practice that I get to teach you, to take you through, that you actually learn how to retrieve those soul fragments back through your solar plexus, so you again become your full self. You again become your full self. You learn how to transcend the ego. You know, ego is always going to be there, but transcending it and actually learning how to live with it is another key to activating that divine connection. Not allowing the ego to constantly interrupt you and tell you how limited you are. And activating the law of attraction. The whole thing about the law of attraction, guys, it only really works when you actually put action and creativity into place. When you actually decide to create something, whether that's a product, whether that's a service, whether that is a course, whether that is a painting, law of attraction gets activated the minute you decide to do that. And then through, remember, look at all the levels, right? First, we do the tribal activation, feeling safe in the surroundings. Second one, we allow ourselves to get creative. We connect to that life force of creativity. Then we really activate the personal power. Like, can I do this? Of course I can. Number 4, how much do I love myself? How much do I accept myself for who I am with all these quirky talents and skills? What is my truth? How safe do I feel communicating that truth of what I had just created? Or how much will I fear the judgment of others and allow that to stop me? How much do I trust my inner wisdom through the connection to the third eye? How much do I trust that the guidance that comes through me is meant to help me evolve and expand, rather than just being safe and know exactly what's going to happen? And then how can I be even more supported? How can I give myself permission to be even more supported and guided by something that is outside of me? Let me know, guys, how would you make of that? Like, was that helpful for you? Seeing sort of, how certain blocks, why certain blocks show up, and what needs to happen to actually switch them on. This, like I said, this is a core of the work that I do. This is the core of all the results that my clients got until now. This is a key ingredient before you do, any strategies, before you do any launches, before you do any coaching programs. This needs to be embodied first. This is also, if you're on a journey, like searching for your purpose, like, what is it that I'm here to do? That's how you find your purpose, by connecting to yourself. And like I said at the very beginning of this video, for those of you who were like, I saw how amazing the Body Beautiful program was, but either maybe it didn't feel right at that moment of time, maybe financially it was a bit of too much of a stretch for you guys, or some other reasons needs to happen to switch. We're gonna do that, Joe. Don't worry, Joe is going to do. Oh my gosh, I just have amazing vision. I mean, that vision is already there. We just really need to activate that, Joe. So I'm so excited for that VIP day. But coming back to those of you who are like, oh my gosh, this just sounds amazing. Like, how do I do that? So my intention was for you guys, especially for those who, especially when it comes to financial stretch, and you're like, I really want to get started, but the Body Beautiful is not like the thing for me. Aligned Life program is something that I am so excited about, and this is actually a self-study program, guys. So I actually created a bit of a VIP version of the Aligned Life program. What this program basically is actually all of those 7 activations that take place through pre-recorded theta healing meditations, activations, and energy clearings. Why theta healing? Why theta brainwave? Theta brainwave is really powerful at allowing your brainwave to slow down to the theta brainwave, where you get to connect to your subconscious mind. In order to clear or change any limiting beliefs, you have to consciously go to that level, to the theta vibration. And all of the activations and energy clearings that are recorded are actually recorded specifically for each energy center. So when you listen to them, and most of them are sort of like 10-15 minutes long, you will, just by listening to it, start actually clearing and changing and releasing all of these blocks that we had identified today, and many more, that tend to get in the way of you manifesting what it is that you want to manifest. Okay, whether that's growing your business, bringing more money into your life, bringing more health, bringing more wealth, bringing more joy, bringing more abundance, creativity. All of this happens on every single level. So the course is actually, like I said, a self-study course. However, we will do that course over 21 days. And the reason why I've designed it to be 21-day course, 7 activations, you get to repeat 3 weeks, consecutive 3 weeks. So we start this program on the 4th of July. It's a program that, if you want to be a part of it and start with us and do 1 meditation and 1 energy clearing a day, it's great to do it in a group. We are going to have actually a private Facebook group if you want to be a part of that 21 transformation. And the reason why I designed it to be 21 days is because habit needs to be repeated for a minimum of 21 days for it to actually have a long-term effect on your life. So you'll have 7 meditations for a week, then you'll repeat them again, and we'll get to do it all together. The investment, guys, for this program is literally a fraction of the investment of the Body Beautiful program. So this is the exciting part, because I really wanted to make this affordable for as many of you as possible. So the payment in full for that is either 222, so 222, or you can do it in 2 installments of £125. So like super easy, accessible, and really powerful. Apart from the 7 activations and energy clearings that you get as a part of the program, you also get 2 amazing, powerful bonuses. One is a chakra realignment masterclass. So this is where in depth I actually teach you and take you through every single energy center, how it manifests itself by what I call sort of like overreactivity, what things tend to show in your life. So you will identify, you will know exactly, okay, my solar plexus is out of balance, or where is it underactive, so where it is actually not working in your favor. And through the chakra realignment meditation, which is another bonus, this is a really powerful guided meditation that I take you through. You can even do that on a daily basis to realign all your energy centers. This really gets to like power your body up so quickly. I mean, the results that some of the clients had from the chakra alignment meditations are like amazing. You'll be able to see that on the page. I'm going to share a link with you in a second. But like, if you wanted to get started and really just activate your creativity, your truth, your conviction, your abundance, your inner wisdom, the divine connection, and you weren't ready for the Body Beautiful, this is really an amazing program for you. So like I said, we start on the 4th of July, and the first 10 people who are going to join the program and pay in full, the investment, I'm going to repeat again, is 222. If you can pay in full, and if you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm going to pay in full, you will also get an access to a really powerful recorded meditation and activation called Reconnect with Your True Identity. So this is where, again, I do a really powerful clearing at reconnecting you back to what it is that you're here to do. Really powerful. Remember, theta brainwave is one of the most powerful brainwaves that you get to access the subconscious mind, and by listening to the meditations you get to actually consciously decide what you want to change, what you want to release, and what new empowering beliefs you want to accept instead. This just goes straight into your subconscious, so it goes past your conscious mind, which will often go like, nah, I don't want that. It will go straight into your subconscious. Whatever goes straight into your subconscious gets activated immediately. Okay, let me just see. Okay, I saw that comment. So whoever is excited to join that, I'm going to pop a link here. If you have any questions, drop me a message as well. Let me just get you the link for that course. Just one second. It is a self-study, but we're going to have a group from the 4th of July where every single day you guys can come in and share your biggest takeaways from there it is. There you are. Okay. This is a link. Here you go, guys. That is the link if you want to join the program. Like I said, it starts on the 4th. Check it out. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm super excited. It is literally like in 21 days, you will not recognize yourself, or you will not recognize your business or your life. It is literally that powerful. I always you will see that actually all of my programs have this as a bonus, because this is literally a course. So everybody gets to do that as a part of the program. Okay. Okay, under an hour. Amazing. Let me know your biggest takeaway from this, guys. What was your biggest takeaway that you learned about the activations, the seven abundance activations? Which one was the one that rang the most true for you, and you were like, oh my gosh, this is like a key, I really needed to hear this today? Let me know in the comments below. And yeah, we start on the 4th. Don't forget, if you can pay in full, you will also get access to the Reconnect with Your True Identity energy clearing and activation. Super, super powerful. Okay, have a beautiful afternoon, and I will see you in the group soon. Bye.